the number 20 class out of the SEC. We've got Missouri, and they have seen quite a bit of movement in and out in terms of high-profile players, to be honest. I mean, they finished in the top 10 in the portal rankings by bringing in the number one player and edge Damon Wilson, but they lose former five-star edge Williams Winery from last class. So before we get into this breakdown, let's first hear from our friend Sean Williams from Power Mizzou.
Missouri finished their 2025 recruiting class with 17 total signees, ranked number 17 in the country. That class features 7 signees ranked within the top 247 rankings. That is the most ever for a Missouri class. Some of those guys featured are top 100 guys, wide receiver Donovan Olagbode, quarterback Matt Zollers, and edge rusher Javion Hilson. Out of those 17 signees, Missouri's got 10 of those guys coming in early to participate in spring ball. So that's pretty big whenever you got over 50% of your class that's going to be in early. Those 3 guys that I mentioned, Olagbode, Zollers, and Hilson, are among those 10 that are going to be early enrollees. So that's a good thing for Missouri. And, Missouri did have some big flips, go the other way toward the end of the recruiting class. They lost 5-star offensive tackle Lamont Rogers. They also lost 3-star running back Jamari Amaro to Texas A&M, but they did a good job of counterbalancing that with by flipping 4-star running back Marquise Davis from Kentucky and top 247 wide receiver Demarion Folks from Pitt, and they also brought in Javion Hilson from last weekend and got him to sign on signing day. So big things happening for Missouri on the field: double-digit wins, Music City Bowl championship, and a top 20 recruiting class as well.
You wrote, they have elite hauls at wide receiver, offensive line, good duo with pass rushers. There's a lot to be excited about in this group. Where does your mind start?
Well, me and Cooper went to breakfast yesterday, and all we do is talk about like talent acquisition and rosters.
That's what I assume.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Yeah.
And I think we came to the conclusion with Missouri that they are just aligned in reloading through both avenues, the transfer portal and then high school recruiting. It all makes sense. You look at Missouri, they're losing 2 wide receivers to the NFL, Theo Weiss and Luther Burden. Mookie Cooper is also out. So what do? They signed 3 top 247 wide receivers. Donovan Olagbode, he might be the most day one ready pass catcher in the class. But Sean Terry, I mean, they love him. I love what he did in the state title games there in Ohio. Pass rushers, they continue to reload. Javion Hilson, a kid from right there in Central Florida, a 40-minute drive for me. He is long. He is Tracy, Dayton Hopkins. And then you listen to Cooper, right? He's going to say the same thing. All right, they got better at wide receiver. They got better at pass rusher. And this is a program that is going to have offensive linemen drafted in back-to-back years. They got 3 offensive linemen that all finished as 4-star prospects for us. They're building this the right way, Eli Drinkwitz and co.
Yeah, and they did a phenomenal job in the portal. They have 9 players in the top 300 as well when you think about that. And Damon Wilson, the number 2 player in the transfer portal by way of Georgia on Andrew Ivins' freaks list. This is a guy that, with more opportunity, I think, in Columbia, is really going to excel there. So really excited about him. And then you pair him with a guy that had a great freshman year, Nate Johnson, coming over from Appalachian State. A little bit of a downtick in production. So pair that with what Andrew's talking about in Javion Hilson, what they've been able to add from a pure pass rush standpoint. One of the more underrated pickups I want to talk about, Kevin Coleman was a former top 247 guy, signed with Deion Sanders, Jackson State. He's been bouncing around a little bit. He was at Louisville, he was at Mississippi State. This guy had over 900 yards receiving last year for Mississippi State, and it kind of went under the radar a little bit. He had 4 games, over 100 yards in conference against SEC competition. And the last guy I want to touch on, Bo Prabula, total gamer. You watch him against Wisconsin, what he brings to the table. And Eli Drinkwitz, his scheme, what he's been able to do, getting the most out of his quarterbacks. You add in Ahmad Hardy from ULM, 1,000-yard freshman back last year. That was one of the best tailbacks in the transfer portal. Andrew said that all-important word when you talk about alignment and having the high school side and the transfer portal side play off each other. Missouri has done a phenomenal job not only building for the long term and building a sustainable product where they're going to contend to win 10 games in the SEC every single year, but short term, they do a really good job of kind of pivoting and making sure that they're going to be a team that really, similar to how we talked about Georgia Tech, Missouri's not going to be a team that you want to see on your conference schedule. So credit to Eli Drinkwitz, their front office, what they've been able to do.
Certainly seen a difference there when it comes to the talent acquisition there at Missouri. You can check out all things Mizzou with powermizzou.com. Those guys have been a fantastic addition to the 24/7 Sports Network. So happy to have them, and be sure to check out more of their work there. There we go. PowerMizzou.com. I don't know about you guys, but
One of the better logos out there. I'm just going to.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Okay.
Anytime you can add in some tiger stripes at logo, that helps. But no, their content is also fantastic too.